It's real easy for a mechanic to say, oh man, I'm gonna put some force on that guy. I'm gonna muscle this thing on to make sure it does not come off. Hello, this is Nico, and today we are talking about the oil filter housing on Toyota and Lexus product. So what's happening is they're braking upon removal of the oil filter while a service is being done. This is an NX200 Lexus. Has the same filter as a Prius and a Toyota Highlander and a Toyota Camry and all those cars from about 09 and newer. The newer the car, the more this style of filter is going to be used. The first step in doing the oil filter removal is we're removing the drain for the oil filter. So you can see it's draining out. What we did is we removed a drain plug and then we installed that drain like petcock in there so the oil can just come running out. That black housing is going to get removed and it's plastic. The torque spec on this is 18 foot-pounds. We're going to remove that little pipe that we installed. I think you take this down for me, Noah. There are 3 fingers on this side right here, and they're gonna lock into those 3 fingers right there. At this point, this is when, if it was over tightened previously, this is the action that breaks the plastic housing. So are we going to break this or not? We don't know. We're gonna find out here in a second. Nope, we're not gonna break that guy. Okay. We've already drained it, so I'm not expecting a lot of oil to come out, but there's still some oil in there always. So this oil filter housing came off, was removed without incident. And what you should not have to do is use this impact gun. So this is an impact gun with 1,100 foot-pounds of torque. And this one got so tight that we have to use this tool to remove the oil filter. Once you use this impact gun on an oil filter housing, replace the oil filter housing. You've probably micro cracked it. Even if you can't see it, just replace it, because if it cracks, it will spew oil out everywhere very quickly and the engine will be destroyed in a minute. We're going to replace this O-ring right here. So we'll remove that O-ring. We need our new O-ring, and we're gonna oil the O-ring. Just kind of dip my finger in some oil there. We're gonna slip that guy back on. That is nice and seated all the way around the O-ring land. And we are going to insert the filter. Filter goes in just like that, snaps in. Nice little spring-loaded piece there. If this oil filter housing came off with incident, meaning we had to pull this thing off, twist this off so hard that it actually cracked the plastic, then what we would have done, we would have stopped and we would have come over to this box. This one is a metal housing, aluminum housing, and we would have installed one of these in place of the plastic. Now, you can just as easily over tighten this one as well. So we want to absolutely make sure that we do not put any more than 18 foot-pounds of torque on this assembly while we're tightening this guy back up in there. Those are just going to get lined up, and we're going to bottom it out. Right now we're just overcoming the O-ring pressure. Okay, now we've just bottomed it out. Always check the manufacturer's spec to make sure that you're using the right torque. This car specifically calls for 18 foot-pounds. We've got our torque wrench set to 18 foot-pounds, and here's going to be 18 foot-pounds. That's it. So you saw from when I bottomed it out. So what we're going to do is, so we've loosened it now, right? It's not torqued down. So now we are going to bottom it out right here, just using one finger till it stops, right? Okay. It's not tight yet. Swap there. So now I'm going to torque this to 18 foot-pounds and watch how much it moves. That's it. That's 18 foot-pounds. So I think I moved this entire tool like an eighth of an inch, around the circumference, and that is it. That's the only amount of tightness that needs to seat. So if you go start cranking down on this thing and you give that thing another quarter turn, and then the car goes another 5,000 or 10,000 miles through 1,000 heat cycles of oil running through it, it will become so tight on there, it'll basically weld itself to the bottom of the engine. And when you go to loosen it, you'll just crack the plastic housing right in half. I mean, look at this, they give you a nice tool so you can just torque this thing down. You can probably torque this thing down to 100 foot-pounds, right? It's going to break if you do that. Okay, so now we're gonna put the O-ring, brand new O-ring on the oil filter housing itself. And here, Noah's gonna install it into the land up there. And it's a nice tight fit. Okay, perfect. And the torque spec on this was? 9? Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bottom this guy out just like the other one. And then we're gonna show you what 9 foot-pounds looks like. A 1/2-inch torque wrench will not work on 18 foot-pounds or 9 foot-pounds. 1/2-inch torque wrenches usually start somewhere around 50. Some of them start at 100. So we are using a 3/8 torque wrench for both of these procedures. And we are gonna go down to 9 on there. Okay, that's bottomed out right there. And then let's see what 9 looks like. That's it. So how much did that just move? You almost can't even see how much it moved. But that's the spec, and that's what we're gonna leave it at. The takeaway for Lexus and Toyota oil changes that utilize this oil filter housing, which are most of them from about 09 and newer, the newer the car, the more they use it, is do not over tighten either of those. Very easy to do, just don't do it. All right, come down, have a cup of coffee with me.